Okay guys, so this is a new sound system, so I think there might be a bit of an echo, but I hope you can bear with that for those of you that would really benefit from this. What I would first say is like make sure you have a pencil and a calculator, whether it's like a handheld like this calculator or if you can use the calculator that's on your phone, but please have that handy. Also, if you have extra paper, let me go grab some now. Scrap paper for me. All right, so have that ready. Pause the video and make sure you have all that ready. But of course, at any point you can pause the video. So here's how I would approach this video. Okay, first of all, this is your math interim study guide. Okay, and what I would do is, if you've done the study guide, which it is due, and it will be a quiz grade, you guys can go ahead and check your answers, and I will have shown all of it. So, either check your answers or copy it down. But what I would say is the way you can benefit most, remember that this is all about doing well on the interim. So I'm okay with you copying if it helps you, but it's not, don't do it mindlessly and not learn anything from it. Okay, so number one, it says if k of x equals negative 7x plus 1, find the following. So if k of x, if this is 0, then you plug 0 in here. So it becomes negative 7 times, because that's times x, 0 plus 1. Now, which one do you do first? You do multiplication before you add. So negative 7 times 0 is 0. Now what's 0 plus 1? That's 1. And that is your answer. So k of 0 equals 1. That is your answer. What that means is if you input 0 in for x here, what would the output be? It would be the 1. Now if I talk too fast because I'm trying to get through this video kind of quickly, then feel free to pause the video, think it through, rewind, and try to listen to what I say, okay? That's the nice thing about having a video. All right, this time the x is going to be negative 1, so I put a negative 1 in here, plus 1. This is still multiplying because this is still multiplying. Negative 7 times the negative 1. If you need 7 negative times 1 negative is positive 7. So positive 7 plus 1, now we're ready to add those. Okay? Remember, it's multiplication before addition. Over here, if you put the 5 in here, it becomes negative 7 times 5 plus 1. Negative 35, negative 7 times 5 is negative 35, and now you're ready to add, and that becomes negative 34. So that's it for number one. Number two, given the function below, determine the range of the relation. Well, here's already the domain. Remember, the domain is all the x values, and this is the same as y, and all of these together are all range. So in order to do that, we got to plug the numbers in here. So for this one, you do 5 times negative 2 minus 3, multiply first. That's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and do it without the calculator, negative 10. Well, I'll do that one with you. 5 times 2 negative 10, then minus 3 is a negative 13. So minus 13. This one is 5 times negative 1 minus 3. So that's going to be negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8. This one is 5 times 0 minus 3. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. 5 times 1 minus 3. 5 times 1 is 5. Minus 3 is 2. 5 times 2 minus 3, this is 10. So 10 minus 3 is 7. Kind of do the, okay, 5 times 3 minus 3. 15 minus 3 is 12. I went through that kind of quickly, so let me just double check. That's right. Yes, and then, yes. Okay, cool. All right, so then that's the range then. It says find the range. The range is going to be negative 13, negative 8, negative 3, 2, 7, and 12. Okay, that's your range. Number 3, this one says to match the function to the correct function table to the correct function. So you've got all these. So let's say we put the 0 in here. Okay, does that give me an output of 2? Yes, it does. Now put the negative 3 in here. So basically what I'm doing is negative 3 plus 2. Well, negative 3 plus 2 does give me a negative 1. So far so good. Now let's put a negative 1 plus 2. So 1 negative plus 2 is a positive 1. So far so good, but always check all the way to the end. Negative, so now I'm going to put a 2 in here. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay, we got lucky. It's the first one. Now, if it was the second one, you'd have to plug it in, and one of them or more of them will not work out. But we got lucky with 3 being A. Number 4. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can pause at any time. That's the beauty of having it on YouTube. Given the following function, determine the range of the relation and plot on the graph. So here's my function. All right, so let me do this one first. You have there's a -1 here times the x. So I'm going to put -1 times -7 minus 7. So what I did is I'm doing this first because it's multiplying, not because it's the first thing you see. So -1 times -7 is +7 minus 7 is 0. Okay, so 0 goes here. And then, what's the next one? -5, so -1 times -5 minus 7. This is going to be a +5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 is -2. -2. All right, let's do the next one. So now we got a -1 times -3, and then subtract 7 from that. That's a +3 minus 7. That's going to be no, that's not right. 3 minus 7, -4. -4, -4. All right. -1 times -2 this time. That -2 goes in here, then minus 7. That's a -2 minus 7. 2 negative minus 7 equals -9. -9. And then we got one more left is 0. So -1 times 0 minus 7. -1 times 0. 0 minus 7 is a -7. Okay? Now let's go ahead and plot these points. So -7, 0. So you can see here the zeros here. It looks like we're in the third quadrant. All negatives, right? So except for the zeros. So here we go. -7, 0. Remember the x, you go left first because that's your x. You can only go left or right. Didn't go up or down, so there's that point. -5, -2. -3, -4. -2, -9. Is that right? Oh, I messed up here. I messed up. I am so sorry, guys. Okay, so this should be a -2, +2, and this would make it a -5. See, Ms. Hong makes mistakes too, and I am so sorry for that confusion. Okay, so -2 times -1 should be a negative, and the -7 should be a -5. Because I'm seeing a linear pattern here, and I can see that's linear, so yeah. -2, -5, that doesn't look right. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. And then 0, -7. I think I was expecting it to be evenly spaced apart, but no, that works. It's fine. Okay. That one's done because we were given the function, we determined the range, and we plotted on the graph, so we're good. Okay, I didn't have to draw the line through it. I was just curious if they all fell on a line. Okay, so there we go. Use the graph of the function below for which interval of x is y increasing and changing by a constant rate of change. So two things have to be true. It's got to be going up. So this part is going up, not here, that's going down. This part is going up, and then this here is going down. Remember, we read from left to right. Now, constant rate of change means it's a straight. Okay, so let's see. This one's straight and going up. This one's curved. So it has to be this one. Okay, so what's the interval? It's on the next page. Between -4 and -2. Let's see, -4 and -2. Yep, that's where it's increasing, so it will be A. If it was -2 and 0, it would be from here to here, and that's a decreasing, and it's not a constant rate of change. From 0 to 2, okay, that's increasing, and it's not a constant rate of change. And from 2 to 4, okay, and beyond, this is decreasing and straight. Number 6, temperature changes throughout the day. Early in the morning, temperature increases. So if it's increasing, this is increasing, increasing, increasing. Okay, that's done. At noon, the temperature rises sharply. Okay, this is not it because it's going down. This one goes up. This one goes up. This one goes up. Okay. So there's that. During the afternoon, the temperature stays the same. So we already said that this one's out. Now it looks like this one does stay the same. whereas, and so does this one, but not this one. Okay, and then as night falls, the temperature decreases slightly. Choose the graph. Okay, so these are the two we have to pick between. So they both go up. It's increasing, and then it increases sharply, and then it stays the same. But then at the very last, the temperature decreases slightly. This is decreasing, that's increasing. So has to be D. So just take it one piece at a time, one description at a time, and then use elimination to take away the ones that don't belong, and then try to make the best decision based on what's remaining. All right, which graph represents a function? Remember, passes the vertical line test, that fails. This passes, okay? This fails, and then this fails like at parts of the vertical steps of the graph, okay? So B would be a function. Given the relation, this relation of ordered pairs, determine domain and range. Remember, domain is all the x values, and don't repeat them if they do. -6, then 5, then +6. I already have that, so I won't write it again, and then 4. All right, and then the y's are the range, so 0, 1, 7, 3, and I'm not going to write 7 again. Right? 1, 0, 1, 7, 3. Okay, good. And I would, always find ways to circle it, even though you can't do it on the test, but you maybe write it on your scrap paper so that visually you don't confuse them. Is this a function? No. The x value, over here the x value is -6. Okay, -6 is repeating. And functions are not supposed to have repeating x values. Let's see this one. Function, yes or no? Yes. Okay. The graph passes the vertical line test. Okay, let's go to this one. Function, yes or no? No, because right here, this goes 1 to 1, but this one is being used twice, and this is your x value. So this one is not, but if it helps you to write it, you can write -1, -2, then 1 goes with -1, but 1 again goes with 0, then 2 with 2, 3 with 2. But if you circle the x values only, because we're trying to determine if this relation is a function, this is where you see the repeating x value. So the x value 1 repeats. Who cares what's happening with the y's? Yeah, there's these two y's that are repeating, but that doesn't make determine a function. It's the x values. Okay. All right. Moving on. Now this one takes some work. I'm just going to do one because of time. I apologize for that, but let's try this one. Okay. So let's say -7 minus a -4, and then 5 minus 4. We got to check every single one of these. Okay. So let's say we do, and do x, the y's go on top. So 5 minus 4 over -7 minus -4. That comes out to be 1 over -3. All right, so now let's do the next one, which is -1/3. Let me double check that. Yeah. Okay, that's a negative. Okay, and then this one, 4 minus 3. You got to check every one of them. 4 minus 3 over -4 minus a -1. Okay, that's going to be 1 over -3, which is -1/3. So far, so good. Okay, now let's do the next one. 3 minus 2 over -1 minus 2. 1 over -3. That works. So far, so good. All right, and then we got to do the last one here. 2 minus 1 over 2 minus 5. That becomes 1 over -3, but then this goes to the side. Every one of these are the same. Negative is a constant rate of change. So therefore, it is yes. I'm going to put a big Y here. Okay? If at all any of these are not the same, then it's going to be nonlinear. I'm guessing this is nonlinear, but I haven't had a chance to look. Okay? So I apologize for that, but for the sake of time, I'm going to move on. You are going on a road trip with your family. You are already 30 miles into your trip, and the speed limit is 75 miles per hour on the freeway. Let X be the number of hours from now, and Y be the total distance traveled. Okay, well, M is your ROC, and B is your IV. Already 30 miles into your trip. That means, you didn't start at 20 miles or 0 miles. You started at 3. This is your starting. So this is your B. Okay, this is your IV. And then when you see words like per hour, miles per hour, that's your rate of change or your M. So 75. So you would write y equals 75x plus 30. Okay, over here. A basset hound weighs 100 pounds and is on a special diet to lose 4 pounds per month. But you're losing, right? Let X represent the number of months passed and Y the weight of the dog. Don't worry too much about this part for now. Okay, so what's the initial value? He starts off at 100 pounds. That's your B, IV, ROC. And then he's losing 4 pounds per month, so you say -4, okay, because he's losing 4. So you write Y equals -4X plus 100. He starts at 100, subtract, losing 4 pounds every month, or every month. Your cell phone plan has a flat rate, that means initial value, of $30 each month. Each month, okay. For each text you send, it costs 20 cents more. Let X represent the number of texts that you send and Y your your total monthly bill. Okay, so so this is just saying, this is a little bit confusing because you see each and each here, but now it looks like you're basing it on text. Okay, so it says the number of texts. So you can say, okay, well, each text, every time you text more is 20 cents per month, while the $30 each month stays the same. You don't keep on having to pay $30 with each text. So $30 is your initial value, and your slope, or your ROC, your rate of change, is 20 cents per text. So it'll be Y equals 0.20x plus 30. Okay? And then over here, graphing. If you want to be able to graph this line, you need to put it in slope-intercept form first. Okay, so let's go ahead and write Y equals mx plus b. All right, and then I'm going to box, cloud, circle. So I'm going to subtract 4x, subtract 4x. You get 8y equals -4x minus 24. This is your box, right? They can't be combined, so you write them side by side. Divide by 8, divide by 8, divide by 8. Y equals -4 over 8, but then that's going to be divided. So 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. -24 divided by 8 is a -3. So here's my equation I'm ready to graph. So I have m equals -1/2. B equals -3. So I need that negative to go somewhere, so I'm going to put that negative on top or on the bottom. Okay, so this one means you go down down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. This is saying going up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. So we start here at 0, -3, which is right here. This is our 0, so we go down 1, 2, 3. We plot it. That one's done. Now from there you go up 1, up 1, left 2, or down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Okay, so here's my line extended all the way across the coordinate plane. Okay, this one, it says write the equation. So y equals mx plus b. Now I know this is a little bit tricky, but the slope is 0. Here's 0. The slope is 0, and the y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis? At 1, 2, 3, -4. So you would write it as y equals 0x minus 4. This goes away. The -4 scoots over. The equation is y equals -4. Now this one, don't freak out too much about it, but it crosses the x-axis. This is, I'm going to circle that. This is your origin. It crosses the x-axis at 2, so it's x equals 2. That may be a little confusing, I get it. You won't have a question like this on the interim, but you will have a question like this. So pay attention to that, okay? All right. Because I'm out of time, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make a video for the rest of these. However, I strongly suggest that you do as much as you can on your own, and you can just come in and check answers with me, okay? So we will have a little bit of time to review. You can go over the questions on the study guide, okay, and ask questions on that when before we take our interim. All right, guys, please study. You can use your binder. You got 2 units, Unit 7, Unit 8, okay? Really look into that, but Unit 6 as well. So functions, you look in your binder, Unit 6, 7, and 8. Then also look in your notebook, okay, Unit 6, 7, and 8. All right, there you have materials to be able to study, and then make sure this study guide is done. All right, guys, work hard, play hard. You can play hard after the interims, but right now, please make sure you guys work hard over the weekend. Good luck, guys.